Well, welcome to the podcast, man. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Oh shit!
What
is your hoodie?
Yeah. So the Raiders are leaving Oakland. You just had something leave you recently. The Chargers. How?
Yes.
What's that first year like? Explain to me as a sports fan and as someone that's been faithful. What is that going to be like having that thing leave you?
Okay, so the first year that the Chargers left, I was more angry than anything because that's just such a constant, and me and sports, and it was super important.
Right.
Like the further that it's away from you, it's not in my mind. And then, this last year I was hate watching the Chargers. So watching them fold, it was like it was tight. So it's just like, I don't know.
Born and raised.
Yes. Oh yes. North County, Vista, Oceanside. So that's my squad, but not anymore. It would ruin my whole day, but now it's not like that.
When the Chargers would lose?
Yeah. It would just ruin the whole Sunday, ruin.
Yeah.
But now it's like
my Sports Center for a few days.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, game's over. What's next? Which sucks because it's weird not having a team. But I am kind of getting over the NFL. So
okay.
But all my eggs are going in the college football basket.
Okay. Well, so let me ask you. So for me, once again, next season, am I going to care about the Raiders?
Oh, you will.
Okay.
I think you will.
Okay.
Everyone does. I think it's like an X because you had put in all this time and effort and energy into supporting this person or franchise, and then now it's like they just changed their mind and basically have gone back on all this history that you two had. Then it's just it really is. It's impossible, I think, especially for the first year, but even more so in the following years. Like a lot of my friends still follow them. I don't blame them. They just want a squad to root for. But it's just impossible that first stretch of time. It just takes time.
Yeah.
All time. So that's just, I think you will. You gotta go to a game.
Yeah, I have to go to a game in Vegas?
Oh yeah, I want to go too.
Yo, the hard part, are you really drinking a cup of coffee right now? Are you really doing this?
It's just warm water.
Yo, the hard part for me was was supposed to be their last season. So I went through the emotional support of, I'll be okay. They're gone. We've had a good run. I went to the final game of the season, and then they came back for one more season.
Yeah, that's right.
And it kind of it felt like an unhealthy relationship. It felt like I'm not just supposed to open back up, And so I gave it until the second preseason game until I was all in again.
It sounds pretty accurate.
Oh my gosh. Well,
that's probably the worst emotion. I knew it was going to happen.
Right. They were 20.
Yeah. So for them to, I don't even know what that would feel like.
Now, if the Chargers come back or if another team moves in, are you automatically a San Diego whatever fan?
Yeah.
Automatically?
Wait, no. If the Chargers move back, no. But if another team came, then yes.
Yeah. No, I'm with that 100%.
Because the Chargers ownership is just so awful. It's
kind of a good thing now. You don't have to you don't have to have that burden of what is Phil Rivers gonna do this week to lose us this game.
Phillip Rivers. That's my quarterback though. Which is crazy. because people don't like him. I used to not like him. It used to annoy me, but I think it's his competitive nature. I mean, you had to, the way how dysfunctional everything was.
Yeah.
Playing in a soccer stadium, and they still had to cover like the top row of the stadium because they couldn't sell tickets.
It was crazy. They said that stadium got more other fans. I think LA also.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Biggest fair-weather city in America.
Yeah, who came in to play the Rams? I don't want to say maybe it was the Chiefs or like someone in the NFC North. I don't know, but they outnumbered over the Coliseum. And it was crazy. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But that's Southern California sports in general.
Yeah.
See that? I guess not with the Lakers or the Dodgers because, I mean, historically, those teams have pretty much balled out, especially the Lakers. So you can't really. That was my elementary school into like middle school.
Okay. Rank the top Southern California fan loyalty.
Fan loyalty?
Yeah.
Oof. All right. So let's see. I'm going to exclude hockey because I don't really want
No, but I mean, you got to include hockey because...
I mean, the Kings have a pretty strong...
I was going to say.
Yeah. But I would say the Lakers, number one, because...
Top loyal.
Yes. So
a lot of those Laker fans became Warrior fans for a while.
No, they didn't.
A lot of those Filipino fans jumped on board.
Ox. Now you're just getting really specific. Comfortable. Okay, you're probably right in that sense. But the thing I like to turn to when I think about Laker fans is when LeBron signed with the Lakers and the number of people who were like, oh, Kobe's still better. But those people were doing, it just came to light, but those people have been talking about Kobe since he retired.
Right.
Last few seasons when they were booty and,
yeah,
it's just, that's pretty ride or die.
Yeah.
Then,
but the Lakers have never been bad that long, so like they didn't know what to do with themselves.
That's very true. So
I would say, don't the Dodgers?
Yeah, I put that. I was gonna say that number 2.
Yeah,
for sure, because they're just as delusional in. But it's tight though. I know you've met my Tio Sam.
Yeah.
So
I know what Tio means, bro. Don't do that to me.
People who might listen to this podcast might not know. So he basically, that was my fandom between that we shared, the Lakers, and then he's a 49er fan. So those early runs they had, like when we first got to college,
right?
And like Kaepernick was like an aberration. It was crazy. But those were crazy years. But definitely the Lakers. He's a big Dodgers fan too.
Yeah.
But they're just like, it's never wavering for them, and there are so many fans like that.
Would you put USC, UCLA? Up there? Or are they super like?
If you went to UCLA, I guess, but USC is such a different. Because I used to like USC growing up.
I think everybody in Southern California did. Yeah,
those were tight teams, but Clay Helton's driven that program into the ground, and what they have on the early signing day is the last ranked. They came dead last in the Pac-12 for recruiting. I don't know have you ever seen the campus? I know you can't leave the campus at night, but hey, like that's pretty cool. Like, I have trouble imagining how you can't convince some, like maybe even like the bottom 5 of the top 10 players in Southern California to want to go to USC.
Oh, it's crazy. We're losing our recruits. California's losing recruits now to like Nebraska or
it's everywhere else. But so that's something I was thinking about too, because I have like family members who are like pissed because they're big USC fans, and it's like, what could we possibly do?
Right.
I also think I mean, not to get like too far off course, but I don't know, between the personal branding that I think players are going to want to start to get into.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen the college announcements, like, you know, you line up the hats on the table, or that dude announces college choice with his baby.
Right.
In the Georgia cheerleading thing. So I think that, especially with like technology, social media, players are able to see kind of what more game days are like. So you're not necessarily having to make like your official visits to go see what a game day is like in, like, say, Nebraska or at Ohio State, because I feel like last minute a lot of these guys are kind of getting snaked, like over, they flip real quick.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it, and then just the exposure that a lot of these players have access to see stuff.
Yeah.
But I think they're like, well, Southern California is tight. It's kind of, I don't know. It's like, I'm not probably just come back, you know, whenever, you know, try to do something else. But I also don't know why you'd want to ever leave, because I did, and I came immediately back. And that first winter in Pennsylvania, it was like.
So you grew up in San Diego, California, but I know you from Penn State. We'll get to Penn State in a little bit. What was North County like, man?
North County was tight. I grew up between like Vista and Oceanside. Through high school, and spent a lot of time. A lot of my family's from here, so most of my time was spent like every weekend. There was probably something going on, family-wise, days, barbecues, whatever. So that was pretty much like family life. That's like the most important thing to me, because that was just constant exposure.
Right.
And so it was cool, man. I don't think I had like a typical beach dwelling type upbringing like you hear about. I do not know how to surf.
Probably assumes.
Never even attempted to do. So, like both parents worked. That's not always typical.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of becoming the norm, because you can't really afford to live here unless you do.
Right.
So, I mean, that was basically, it was good. I had a good, fun childhood. You know, they took us to Disneyland when we could go. Like, that was tight. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty low key, my upbringing. I didn't have to deal with a lot of drama or. Yeah. It's pretty simple.
Where did the sports love form? Did that, like, and why?
I was early. Yeah. I think so. In first grade, I don't know when you learn about the seasons. Maybe that's kindergarten. But we got so we're getting tested on the 4 seasons, right? And this is kind of how it came out. Like, yo, this kid's gonna be like a sports. I wouldn't say fanatic, but bordering on it. I mean, how much I know, but so they were testing me, and then the teacher's assistant had asked me. She was like, "Oh yes, you know, what are the 4 seasons?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh well, football, ball," and that's what they wrote it on my report. Like, that was basically the only question I managed to screw up. My mom read it and she was like, "Well, he's not wrong."
That's hilarious.
Seasons, I related that to sports immediately.
Right.
But I'd say my dad for sure kind of impressed that upon us, and then a lot of my family members. Honestly, there aren't too many people in my family who don't like sports. Like, at least one, or they'll find something about a sport that they like.
Yeah.
Where the Padres play, like, I don't know anyone who's been there and says they don't like it.
Yo, that was one of the best baseball games I've ever been to. You took me to college night?
That was amazing. Yo, Padres college nights are infamous. Yeah. I still do it, but they changed a lot of rules. Transit, the stadium.
No more vaping in the stadium.
So for the best. But yeah, so my dad definitely, he pushed sports. I played baseball up until 8th grade, like Little League and all that. And then my brother played like soccer, Little League. Try to get my sister. Oh, I'm gonna shout out Nani. She listens to the podcast.
Yo,
she's a devout Stan. I'll call her a Stan. So shout her out. But yeah, sports. But yeah, so just the competitive nature of it, and just so my dad wanted us to kind of find our aggressiveness in sports, and that is kind of where we tapped into it, especially once I got to high school. And
which did you like the most?
Playing?
Yeah.
I liked football the most.
Okay.
Yeah. Once we got to high school and was able to play, because there was the weight restrictions at Pop Warner.
Oh yeah. So you're always out of the class, out of the age group.
Like the guy, when you're the guy is like, "Are you guys here for?" The funny thing too is they would do the weigh-ins at like a pizza place.
Oh.
So then it's like, wait, how is this? This seems so counterproductive. So
they really did that? Because I never got to play like Pop Warner and stuff like that, but like they really had like weight restrictions and stuff like that.
Yeah, you'd go. So you'd have to get a physical. I think you had to get a physical from your doctor, and then would go, and then they would weigh you in. There were restrictions, like you can't just let anyone out there on the field. And then you get on the scale, and the homie's right there, like, oh yeah, it's not gonna work.
So how do you get those videos of those little big ass kids just like stiff arming the fuck out of little peewee kids? Like where?
I think so. My understanding is that there are states like Texas, so like crazy football state, where there are no like weight restrictions.
Okay.
You just let anyone play, like your age group, like, yo, that's what you get.
Yeah.
And then like a 6'5" 8th grader who weighs like 300 pounds. That's.
Remember the greatest that never was? That documented the 30 for 30 series. Watching that dude run. What was his name? Was it Dupree?
Marcus Dupree. Yeah. Dupree. He's a man child. Who, as a freshman. Wait, wasn't he playing varsity football as an 8th grader?
Yeah.
That's
and still making them look like punks.
Like he was punking people. The only way they could get to him was like by tearing off his jersey. It was nuts. But yeah, that's how. But out here in California, there's so much red tape in California when it comes to doing anything. So
I think that's what killed USC football. The softness.
Yeah, probably. It's all the. Well, that's the thing, because Orange County, which is like, I don't know how Orange County produces like a lot of ballers.
Yeah.
But it's like interesting that it's Orange County because there's not very much aggressive about. Right. I mean,
skimboard in Orange County.
Oh yeah, your typical Cali teen. They are intimidating. I was intimidated a lot in high school.
About Orange County kids.
Like, whoa, you went surfing before school, bro? Like, damn, that's tight. Your dad just bought you a brand new Tacoma? Like, oh, that's tight. It was like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'd say football is the best because, I mean, I still, to this day, I hang out with a lot of those same dudes I play football with.
Right.
My one homie just got married last Saturday. But yeah, it was the most stressful thing I had to like deal with at that point in time.
Right.
I think it helped me become a lot more disciplined, and baseball was tight though. I think if
I looked up y'all record, you guys were 1-11.
Yo, stop.
Well, yo, what? No, like we like 1-11.
Yo, it's a little more competitive in North County.
Yo, some of the teams you had to play were crazy though. Did you play Helix? Wasn't Helix on your schedule?
Yo, Helix, my coach. So I played center, and our first string guy went down, and they kind of did this thing where they would slide the guard over.
Yeah. To help you?
No. So they would move the guard to center, and then like throw in, I don't know, like an extra tight end or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Do that sort of thing. But we had some, I forget what maybe it was eligibility issues, which I never had to deal with.
Right.
But something happened where like I was about to have to go in, and I wasn't very prepared at all. And my coach told me, and he just turned to me and he's like, Nehemiah, he goes, you know what? If I put you out there, that kid's going to have you for dinner. So we're going to, which was tight though, because we had that bond that my offensive line coach was so honest with us, like me and my friends, because football was not our path. It
wasn't the way.
But when I was out there, like I listened, I did what he asked. And so that was like, that guy's going to own you. So guess what? We're just going to keep you out. Like, it was like, we'll see if we can maybe score a touchdown before the end of the half. There's already like 42 to their tight end was like 6'6", like 240 pounds. It was crazy. The defensive tackle was crazy. I forget where he went. But yeah, it was.
Who's the greatest player you ever played against? Was there anybody?
So I didn't play against. I don't think I actually played against him. Maybe we did, but Kenny Stills.
Oh, that's right. You told me about, yeah.
And I think, I want to say he had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. But it all happened so fast that I was like, God damn, like that was
the game was over quick, right?
Oh yeah, I think our second stringers were in by the half.
we played against Javid Best.
You did?
Yeah, we went to Salesian. We played against him at Piedmont High. I have to look up his stats. I think it was like 6 carries for 230 yards. Like it was something crazy where like every time he touched the ball, he was gone. It was like, oh, there you go.
Was he physical too?
He didn't have to be, bro. Nobody could touch him. We played against this other dude. It was my freshman year at Piedmont. There's this dude named Cameron Brown. He's a running back. Played at Oakland High. He looked like Marshawn Lynch.
Oh,
he
God.
went on to wrestle in college.
Oh, shit.
So he would just be like carrying, like put the team on my back though. Like it was crazy. He had like probably like 12 touches for like 200 yards, but like he was just dragging people. All these little, white kids on my team were just getting dragged. It was crazy. I've never seen anybody run like that close and personal.
It's like, it's such a, high school sports especially, is the disparity sometimes between talent.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, why is this? He's the same age as me.
Well, it's because these kids, it's like the good kids in high school, the really good athletic kids, like they have that mindset because they've been put through way more. Like, I think when I have my child, I'm going to leave it just so that he excels at high school sports.
True.
Because when you have, and when did you go through most of your growth? After some hardship, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm going to put my kid through the ringer early on so that he's mentally focused for when it comes to high school sports. He can be that guy in his old age to be like, man, I still have my Letterman jacket. Like, dude, my high school coach, he was like, Ox, damn it. You're one of the smartest kids on the field. That's the thing, though, is that's where it stops. He said, if you were a foot taller, man, you would go D1 in any sport on any team. But God damn it, you just didn't have it. Your body lets you down, man.
You just physically can't.
I couldn't, bro. I was always in the right spot, but like 2 seconds too late.
2 seconds. Ox, we got you where you needed to be. It just needed to be a lot sooner.
I took the right angle. I took the hypothetical right angles, bro. I just couldn't.
I got that a lot. I was a real cerebral player.
I got that.
But that's what was cool about. We had such a good rapport with our coaches.
Yeah.
That they could be honest with us, because I remember my first I went 0-10 my freshman year, and those guys, they tried everything. They really, it was such a roller coaster of a season. Like I think our first game we lost 13-12. So like
there was hope.
It's like, oh wow, like this is fun. Like we almost won. The only reason why we lost is we don't have a kicker. And in freshman football, like that makes sense.
Yeah.
But our coach, he tried being nice. He tried being mean. He tried lying to us and telling us that I can see. He was cool though. Shout out Coach Stuckey, because that guy, it was off. It was like no one is prepared to go out and lose 10 straight games. No one is, dude. And so by the time we were on varsity, like everyone kind of knew, like we know what we are, but then the coaches were super honest with us. Like obviously we're going to go out and prepare, and we did. Like that was the mindset. But my offensive line coach was like, yeah, what's cool about this team is that a lot of you are going to see success outside of the field. And then he would follow that up with like, and if you think you're going to see success on the field post high school, come and talk to me, and we'll we'll get you on the right career path. Yo, he said, he's like, trade school is an option for most. He was right though, and I think that's that's when I started to realize how much honesty is such an important thing, because you could keep telling someone like, oh yeah, son, you keep trying and you get a D2 offer. None of us were going to get any offers. Like, right. So to have that influence in your life to be like, you these are your strengths. You need to grow on those, like academics, or you like cars, you should become a mechanic, that kind of stuff. So I think that, because honestly, when I think about the people I went to school with, everyone's doing pretty well. You don't really hear a lot about like, this group of people is not doing well, or so I think that helped out. But yeah, high school coaching, I think, is the most unsung. Like, it takes a special type to dedicate their lives to that, and it's like, it's crazy. I couldn't do it. I'm too selfish.
High school coaching, I think that it's also not. You have so much faith and responsibility you have so much faith in that person to lead these young boys at the most impressionable age ever, right? Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think you should coach. I think you're a great, you were talking, because I remember our coach, I don't really know what his methodology was. It really didn't make sense, but I remember before one game, right before one game, coach was like, all right, guys, we're going to play this team. And he got all rallied up, and it was to the point where nobody really believed his rah-rah. You know what I'm saying? So he was just screaming to scream, and everyone in the locker room was like, because you're not out there fighting with us. So he's like, this team that we're about to play, I got emails all week from parents saying that they wanted to cancel the game because apparently the team we're about to play was an illegal team. Like, they just put together a bunch of kids, and it was like kind of a fake high school.
The East Bay All-Stars?
Yeah, there was like 20 kids on the team, but they were all what was the movie that Rock was in? That he was a high school coach? Or no, he was the coach of the kids in jail.
Oh, damn it. I don't remember. But yeah, they were all juvies. They were in juvie.
But these kids were just they were cut, big ass. It was all it was a team of 20 Black and Samoan kids. They played both ways. All the players started both ways.
All special teams. The running backs kicking the field goals.
Yo.
Punting, but for 60 yards.
Coach was like, I got a bunch of emails this week from parents hoping that we'd cancel the game. You know what I said to them? fuck them. And we all looked around like, wait a minute, hold on. You're not going, maybe we should.
Yo, you have parents expressing concern for your safety and your health. And he says, fuck them.
He said, fuck them. We were like, wait a minute, you ain't gonna be out there with us, coach. we the first half, we were getting smacked like 45-0 or something. Oh my God. And then coach had to do another rah-rah speech at halftime. And we were just like, yo, maybe we should cancel this game.
They really believed it. There has to be some sort of...
The school got disbanded 2 weeks later, actually.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
2 or 3 weeks later, the school got disbanded.
The greatest team that never was.
Yo, serious. Why don't you coach, man? You're honestly great with kids. You had experience working with at the preschool.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying you're super patient, and you obviously have like the acumen, and you know what it's you know the importance of coaching. Like, why has that never been something that you wanted to get into?
I think for me, it's really the time commitment, because I have looked into it in the past. Like, I've had friends who've done it, and the number of hours you'd have to spend to prepare, like, you get like a stipend,
right?
And it's really not a lot. On like my work, and so I'm in consulting, so a lot of my stuff kind of happens like after hours, and so if there's like something I need to attend to as a coach, which a lot of the time, I mean, half the time you're like, I feel like they're just kind of doing like psychology, talking to guys who get in trouble in the classroom. If I had more time, I would love to be able to do that. It would be cool. Right now it's like, I don't think I'd have enough time, because it does take time. You'd have to be able to devote yourself.
That's true.
Otherwise I had a few coaches who you could tell like they cared, but they had like real jobby jobs and real responsibilities. And it's like, man, that he's doing a lot. So that's probably why I haven't dabbled into it.
I had a flag football coach once, because the Ravens game was coming on. It was a Monday Night Football game. He decided there was one call that didn't go our way, so he said, let's go, we're leaving. And he just ended the game there.
No. Are you serious? Yo, that's a crazy precedent.
He said, come on, we going, let's go, we leaving.
That's nuts.
All right, last high school question, because there's way more to your life than that. But did you learn anything from all that losing you did? Because you said you loved the high school football. Like, was there something gained from going through all of that loss? I don't think you ever get used to adversity, but it's probably the closest I think any human could have come to getting used to it. Right. On a week to week and like year to year, and having to deal with the stress of it. Yeah. Because I don't think high school was stressful. Football was, though. Just, it was a grind. It really was. Yeah. A grind to like just be good enough to not always get your ass kicked. So I think it did. It was like, going into every situation optimistic, but sometimes tempering those expectations. Like, hey man, I'm gonna put my best foot forward, but I also need 10 other people, on this side of the ball to put their best foot forward. Right. And that's not always gonna happen. Right. Like transitioning in the work and like working with groups, and because a lot of my work is collaborative. So you have a lot of people bringing in different work products, and you kind of putting them all right together. So that's probably what I learned is like, you will be able to count on people, but you might not be able to count on them all the time. And then when you do find those work groups that you can, it's like, okay, this is cool. Like, this is what a cohesive team effort is supposed to be like. They need to redo school, because Group projects was like 1/8 of college.
Yeah.
That's all the professional world is group projects.
Yo, especially in business. It's crazy because I feel like when people tell me what they do for work, I'm just like, oh, so you're taking a group speech at Penn State. I was like, that's tight. Because that's what it sounds like. I was like,
there was speech B. Wait, there was speech A, speech B, and then what was C again? It was like you could record your speeches ahead of time or something?
I think so. Or wasn't it for people who think like speech anxiety?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you got to record it like yourself. I took the group one, which was the best.
You took group speech?
Yeah. Which was probably so it was all year or all semester long.
Yeah.
In a group. I think we might have changed groups twice.
Yeah.
That was super interesting because we had 3 people in our group who didn't speak English.
Oh.
Dude, that was like, sometimes they didn't know any better. They were just trying to get their credits. Like, I had to take this class. All right, I'm gonna take it. But you're right. There's so much group work that goes on. I think maybe individually you can kind of get away with it in the sciences like engineering and but at some point, whatever, like my brother talks about his work. He does design and he's a mechanical engineer. But then at some point during the work process, they have to go and present to a group.
Yeah.
So at some point, like you get these like people who like to seclude themselves, but then it's like with work, at some point you're gonna have to interact, and I think it's super important that people learn how to be a part of a team. I know people don't like hearing that, but it's true. That's the only way anything really gets done.
All my life, I feel like I was taught like, oh, you can't give special treatment to anybody just because they're more personable or they're more charismatic or whatever. But like all the engineers that I've experienced that have been the most successful are all the most charismatic. Like they know how to talk to people. They know how to work in groups. All the developers that I work with. I mean, it's almost everything. It's almost as important as their ability to code.
Yeah.
Ability to work with others. And I don't know why that was so de-emphasized early on in my life until now, like my first job where I was a recruiter. Like the engineers that were way more personable and like the ones that you quote unquote wanted to have a beer with or hang out with, like those guys could literally get paid whatever they wanted. They didn't mind. Companies would rather have those people around than the ones that are, heads down, quiet, awkward, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Was college like always part of the game plan for you, or like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I didn't really, not that I want to say I didn't have a choice, but that was always basically the end goal. Was like for my parents, for me, was like, yeah, would like to go to college.
What was that going to do for you? Because like for me, it was just college and I didn't really have a game plan after that. And so I kind of had to struggle with that a little bit, but was it college and then something else?
Yeah, I mean, so I hadn't, basically in getting a degree was the potential for higher earning power.
Yeah.
And, depending upon, because originally I wanted to study like film.
Yeah.
Something like that. So kind of doing research on careers and like, median salaries, you start doing that stuff. And I was like, oh shit, like this is kind of a path where if you don't really have a lot of connections, like you don't really move up at all. You just kind of struggle for a while.
Right.
Until you finally figure it out. And so that wasn't necessarily something I wanted to like get into. So I basically kind of looked at what are the growing fields, and anything environmental is what came up. So I was like, oh, water quality. So that's what I studied. I was like, I'm gonna pick something broad enough that I could apply it into different things.
Horticultures?
No, wait, what? My what?
Weren't you a horticulture's major? Isn't that? Aren't you?
Environmental resource management.
Environmental resource management. Got it. You know, there's a golf management major at Penn State.
Yeah, turf grass. Wait. There was turf grass, which is all about. But that's legit. They do Augusta every year. But then there was the PGA, like golf course management.
Yeah.
To manage a golf course, there were courses. Yeah, there were a couple people in my group speech class that were PGA majors or whatever, PGM, whatever it was.
Those kids were weird. Come on.
Because the main reason why is because most of those people, like, not to single them out, but a lot of those people had parents like very well off because, I mean, I don't know. It's just that would seem to be what the move was, because a lot of these guys were like, yeah, you know, I interned at this golf club and then I did this, and it's because my parents did that. So it was like, and I think your first year out, you're basically kind of just supporting yourself. And a lot of those guys were like, yeah, this is cool. My parents got me. So because I don't know how you can't get good at golf unless someone else is paying for it.
Right.
Or I don't know. It's to me, that's like the truth. Not when you're young. I don't know any kid who can afford, you know, a full set of TaylorMades or whatever at 16 and having done it themselves. It's like, I mean, that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
But those guys, they were only in class, like, it felt like twice a week.
They were always like off on some group trip.
Yeah, exactly. They were visiting other golf courses.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know what you call it, like externship stuff, but it was.
Yeah, they were always on externships. That's what it was. That's right.
Always at the bar. Always at the bar. Those guys, and then that's why I was like, dang, maybe I'm thinking about switching majors. This is nuts.
All right, man. So how do you go from North County, San Diego to Penn State? Like, what were the other college options, or like, why was?
There were. So, my mom didn't want me to go to UC Santa Barbara because she thought it was too big of a party school. So,
little did she know.
That was to that. But so, I mean, really late in the process, I applied to Penn State. I think the last day, like the deadline day for applications, because my cousin had mentioned he was applying there.
Google?
So, huh?
That's Google, right?
Yeah, to Schuylkill. Yeah. So originally I applied to Abington and Schuylkill. And so I managed to get in. We both got in. But then I got a call like maybe 2 or 3 weeks later asking why I didn't apply to Maine.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, if you're interested, like, you know, you can come to the main campus, which, like, I mean, I guess out of state, it's a little easier to do, but I had just heard that how competitive it would be.
Yeah.
Try to get on the main campus. So, and then they gave me some scholarship money. So that kind of helped me solve that problem. Right. But yeah, like, I mean, but no visiting the campus. I never saw the campus until the first day of class. So it was a leap of faith. Like, my dad was, you know, super encouraging. He's like, well, you know, if you're going to be the first one in the family to go to college, like, it might as well be like the full experience.
Yeah.
So that's what it.
Did you have like second guesses before? I mean, because that's a huge leap, dude.
The whole week before I left, I was just crying.
Really?
Yeah. I was just like, damn, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But then I didn't really, because in getting ready for it, I don't know how much you remember about that process, but it was just like a lot of planning and like, how do I get my stuff out there? Am I gonna have to buy everything when I'm out there? Like, I didn't really have a lot of time to think about it. And then like
I had like 2 big bags. Like,
yeah,
like those like traveler backpacks.
yeah, the army duffel. So yeah, it wasn't until a week before I was like starting to shit my pants, like really about to go across the whole country, and stay there on purpose and go to school.
All right, so leading up, I remember everyone was like, well, make sure you get a good coat. And I was like, all right, I'll get another hoodie.
Yeah. I'll be all right.
Yo, didn't we have we had record lows for like 3 of the 4 years we were there.
I felt like every year people were telling me, this is probably the worst winter in the last 10. And then the next year it'd be like, this is probably the worst winter in the last 10.
Bro, I was out there in Vans like a dumbass. You know what I'm saying?
Did you ever have boots freshman year?
I bought boots, but I never wore them. I bought like these Raider boots. Do you remember do you remember the Raider boots I bought?
Yes. Yo, those were hard.
So take me through the evolution of Miah Martinez, man. From like day one, parents was there, dropped you off. Like it's like Lord of the Flies almost, bro. Like you're like a kid all over again.
It really was. There was I think the thing I noticed immediately was the lack of structure, which I think everyone kind of had to start dealing with.
Right.
So I never really, I didn't have a lot of free time in high school. And then when you get to college, it's like, yo, you don't have class from this time to this time. You kind of figure out how to fill that time in, either studying or doing whatever, going to the IM building to play basketball. But I think that was the most nerve-wracking thing. And then I felt like, I don't know if you felt the same way. I felt like there were people, even if they came from out of state, they still had a lot of friends there or people that they knew.
Yeah.
Oh, going to my brother's apartment or like stuff like that. And I was like, dang, I don't really have that. And in my mind, I thought, well, it's a pretty big school. Are these people actually going to have like, in terms of meeting new people and like branching out, I was like, maybe these people are in the same boat. But I was kind of naive about that.
Yo, 35,000 people, undergrad.
But it didn't seem that big.
Yeah.
And honestly, it never felt that big until game day.
Yeah.
And then you saw like, oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of learning in like being, basically by myself over there.
Right.
And not being able to, like I said, like the family stuff, it was, every weekend for however long, there was always something going on, always someone to hit up.
Right.
Over there. And it's like, it's not like I can fly out for the weekend.
Oh my gosh, you had the best roommate of all time.
Yo, Akima de Kambe.
How did you? That's crazy. That is crazy. You had Akima as your roommate freshman year.
So the first thing we connected on, because he left like which is like funny. He had like a stack of burned CDs.
Uh-huh.
And I forget which one was on the top. If it was Lil Wayne.
It had to be.
I probably was. I had noticed and I was like, I saw what you got your burned CDs. Because I burned so many CDs for people in high school.
Yeah.
In making different playlists. So like that's how we first connected.
Yeah.
Music. And then I think it might have been that same first day he asked me if I knew who Meek Mill was.
Flamers.
That was like my introduction into like Philly culture and all that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I got lucky. Akeem was a good roommate. For other people, it was like nightmarish. Oh, John Lay and
Oh, John Lay was at the Lonray.
Lonray, that's right.
It,
The dream team. Yo, John, the funniest person.
Honestly, you and John are like the funniest people I've ever met in my life. And Akeem, right?
Yeah, that John and Akeem, like, I don't know what it was. That was a cool floor. I don't think. I mean, other floors could maybe make the claim that like they had that magic, but
No.
I don't. Yo, it's like it felt like you could just go 8 to 10 deep at any time.
Well, it was the RA. Ryan Blacks really set the tone for the year.
Ryan Blacks was tight.
Yeah.
He definitely made me feel more comfortable. He was good about bringing stuff up that you didn't necessarily want to bring up, like being homesick.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So like, how are you adjusting? Is it going all right? Like, I was like, yeah, it is. I kind of miss home. And you'd be like, oh, like, what do you miss most? Like that kind of stuff. Because I think if that first semester, like in the back of my mind, it was just like, I could always go home. I could always go back. But it was in my mind too much, like almost like a crutch. Like, well, I could just go home. Like it doesn't,
Yeah.
If I feel too uncomfortable here, which I did after like 2 months, I was chilling for sure. Yeah.
That first winter though, man.
That was crazy.
It was
snowing early.
It snowed early. Yeah.
Like in October.
It snowed early, and then it lasted until April. I remember there was snow in the springtime.
And the snow is cool for like 20 minutes.
Yo, it's tight, and then it's like it's still here.
Still here? Yeah, it doesn't go away.
Class was never canceled.
Nope. It was never canceled unless like I had it canceled once. That's only because the TA leading this, like one of the sections, her car like slid down the hill or something. Personally affected by the weather, like a car crash, or my heater's broken, I gotta stay so someone can fix it, stuff like that. But otherwise, the campus, did it ever close while we were there?
Did what?
Did the campus ever close, like for a weather warning?
Yeah, we had a tornado warning.
Oh, that's right.
Sophomore year.
Didn't they think a hurricane was going to touch? Yeah.
And we looked out. I mean, there was like twigs and stuff, but it was there. I do remember there were days where the streets were iced over, and it was too dangerous to walk to class. But like, because there were heated paveways, like we still had to go to class.
Yeah. They were like, there's no excuse.
Yeah. But there was like, oh my gosh. But the first semester was really hard for me. The weather was trash. I remember I definitely wanted to transfer. And then you, John, and Akeem, I didn't understand how y'all showed your love. For whatever reason, y'all chose to roast me all the time. And it ate at me, man. It was like, it was getting to me, bro. I was weak. I was mentally weak. And I was ready to transfer, bro. And then I don't know, something clicked. And then y'all became my best friends at school. But y'all, God, yo, I hated y'all so much, man. I didn't know who to trust.
There was so much. We did give each other a lot of shit.
Yo, and I remember coming home the first time with the new mentality that I had. And everyone was like, yo, Ox, you're mean. I'm like, what? No, I'm just, stop being slickhead. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yo, because it was, the quick wit was something I didn't necessarily, it took me a second to get used to too. Because it is different. It's just a different mentality over there.
Yeah.
Especially in Philly. Oh. It's like a whole nother world.
Really, New York's the whole, like New York, they have to play a character all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You have to be tough. Like which kind of stinks. It's like, really, you're not given any other choice.
Yeah.
Why can't I just be funny and charming? It's like, nah, it's like, I mean, like what word it is, but it really is like, great. Like, all right, a caricature of like what that city's culture is supposed to like represent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, that always tripped me out. How quick people were, like, especially giving each other shit. Sometimes there was just nothing you could do. You couldn't even respond sometimes because you had.
What was the most interesting region of America that you were exposed to while at Penn State that you were like, holy shit, these people really are American?
Oh shit.
Because the dope part about Penn State was it was literally a melting pot for the East Coast. So we got a crash course in everything over there.
Yeah, you really did. I'd say Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Pittsburgh was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Latrobe. Just some of the, seeing how people do like a Friday night it seems so different and like foreign to me.
Yeah.
What people would deem as fun.
Right.
But I mean, during the winter months, what are you supposed to do? Like, going out to dinner was just like, oh my God, we're going out to dinner. That kind of thing. So you almost like the things you kind of take for granted. Like, I could go to the beach right now. I don't know if they could do that
right
in Latrobe.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was like, but.
And it's January.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but that was like the crazy thing. And like, especially in Pittsburgh and that area, like how much they cared about like high school football and things like that, and like the hierarchy of like what they find important. I was always just tripped out about that.
Yeah.
I mean, for us it was important, but like my dad's not planning his week around, oh, who's Aliquippa gonna play on Friday? Upper St. Clair, they got a clash against the Central Dolphin, or like just crazy like stuff like that. Like no one around here cares like that, but over there it's such like a thing.
Right.
So that geeked me out. I thought that was kind of cool though. You still have like that small town mentality, and but yeah, that always tripped me out. And then going to see the Amish country obviously was pretty.
The Amish was crazy to me. I didn't think that was real.
That was the best. Mike McClain took me to, what was that, Shady Maple?
Yep.
Smorgasbord.
Yeah.
And like driving through, and you like see buggies, and I was like, dude, this is like real. I used to think that, oh, this is probably overplayed. Like, yeah, you have these communities, but I was like, I don't think it's actually like that. But it is actually like that.
It's an odd time period they all chose to settle on.
I know, it is. I'd be like, I could be Amish, but I'd be like, I need a little technology. It's like, I'm in the sect that believes everyone should have at least a TV. Yo, because but only for like emergency broadcasts.
Yeah.
Like, what if a nuclear bomb does get dropped? Don't you want to know?
Or do you? Because it's like, what are you going to do?
That's true. What would you do if that were to happen?
This is very, very timely and topical right now.
Yeah.
So we went there through probably two of the biggest monumental moments at Penn State.
Tumultuous.
Yo, so for people that don't know, we were there during the time of which Jerry Sandusky's allegations came to rise and everything, and then they removed Joe Paterno as the head coach there, and he also passed away. I think we joked about it freshman year, like, yo, what if we were here during the time?
What happened? I mean, we used to say that a lot, like, what would happen?
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, he was up there in age. It's like, how long can you possibly be doing this? And that is what we would like, what would happen? Because I don't know about you, I had a small inkling, small idea about how much they loved Penn State football, but it wasn't until I got there and then like went through a full season when I was like, oh my God, like that stadium is like a mecca for.
No, but but at some point it went from this is there to it was our. Like at some point, exactly. You started feeding into the bullshit too.
100%. I don't know how anyone goes in there and doesn't.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I don't remember, why didn't we sit next to each other during the first game?
Didn't we just go in at different times?
I think we did. But that's what I didn't get is like, why did we both go in solo when we could have just like walked in together?
Because I didn't like you at first. You were an asshole, bro. Like we just talked about this. The first game we sat near each other was when Freddie came to visit. It was an Iowa game. We were supposed to win that.
Oh, we win it. Did you know that there were national championship aspirations our first year?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Yo.
We go in Daryl Clark.
Good.
He was DC's last year. And he was tight. That whole and then what is it? Oh, that's my favorite. When John Lay talks about the Iowa game, isn't that when Adrian Claiborne didn't he blocked the punt and then turned it for a touchdown? It was one of the coolest football plays I had ever seen.
Into the Penn State section.
Yeah, that's right. Section. And it like silenced the place. And when John Lay would talk about that play, he's like, "Yo, it's the coolest thing I've ever seen." He's like, "I know we lost, but that was the coolest thing I've ever seen."
No. When I remember when I was on the field, we played Alabama.
Oh yeah,
offensive line.
That was Trent Richardson. No, when I saw him, I was like, "Oh my god!" It's like
wasn't Derrick Henry on the team too then?
I don't know. I was trying to figure out if that was too early. Those were amazing. We got to see a lot of cool like football players ball out. My favorite though is probably Denard Robinson.
Oh yeah.
See Denard Robinson and Michigan in person. I like cried that game.
I gave you my ticket for that game.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That was tight. That was amazing.
We won that game too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good memories.
So stop evading the question. What was that like for you as a student going to this college? Everything is going pretty solid, right? Like you're figuring out your life and everything, and then boom, this national scandal hits us, and all of a sudden it's literally America against Penn State students.
Yeah,
it felt like for a while.
It was even until now. I mean, as most recently as like a month ago. Not to get specific, but I was in a work setting and, dealing with not anyone I work with regularly, but like a contractor. And they had mentioned he's like, "Oh yeah, you went to that football school where they, didn't they abuse all those kids?" And I was just like, oh. It's just so hard to, what do you say? And there was some child abuse allegations.
You can't sweep it under the rug. Yeah. And you know more information than they do. So it automatically just takes away from whatever you were trying to do at that moment.
Oh, 100%. It sucked the air out of the room. Yeah. So, and then I'm like, for a while there, you're just kind of you felt like you were, it did feel like you were defending the school.
Yeah.
Because it was there were these individuals and people not taking, there was several instances of inaction and
a lot of actually people.
Yeah, exactly. So I was a lot more could have been done. It's shameful, but it's I wasn't even in school when this happened.
20 years before us.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was pretty tumultuous. The crazy thing was, I remember.
Yeah. Jeremy Schaap was on campus.
Jeremy Schaap. Once you see Jeremy Schaap, it's a wrap, dude. You're done. Done. Tom Renault probably out there too. And it was, Jeremy Schaap. Jesus. But I remember reading a court affidavit that was posted on Twitter.
Yeah.
And reading about it, I don't know how many pages long it was, but I read through it. It was like a Thursday night, and I was like, oh my God, like this is like a real thing. Obviously, and then by Monday it was like national news, like the, you know, inaction of Joe Paterno and you know what the assistant coach had seen and heard, and but it really kind of did divide the student body in, like, because you had people who grew up Penn State fans. I mean, like, basically Joe Paterno was like, people viewed him almost like a grandparent.
Yeah.
So that was like a major deal in like kind of navigating, like, I'm only a newly minted Penn State person, right? Relatively new. So it's like you had people with like, you know, 18, 19 years of history since they were born. They've been indoctrinated into it. And then you have me who's like, well, all this shit should have never happened. So right. I'm going to side with that. Like, there's no excuse for what happened.
We were in tears.
Yeah.
Like, people cried like it was actually their grandfather that died.
Yeah. And then like the way the investigation was working out, it was like people were getting super emotional about that.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. We were getting emotional for the wrong reasons. Like, right. My school didn't, because we deserved every ounce of the criticism and the response, the negative response that they were getting. To me, like, I was like, well, it makes sense, man. Like, this is some ridiculous shit that should have never happened.
The NCAA's punishment didn't make sense because it really only affected the current college students that were the current athlete. Opening up the floodgates for them to transfer, you know, it's good and bad. I mean, you're kind of bastardizing the program by doing that, and that's fine, but you're really only hurting the students that were currently playing there. Like, they had nothing to do with anything else going on.
Which I understand that there needed to be like sanctions, but they really didn't. And but it was a surprise because like Bill O'Brien had to deal with the brunt of it, right?
No, Bill O'Brien's a monster, man.
I like that guy.
I've never worked at a better organization than when I worked for Bill O'Brien's football team. Like, you literally saw how everybody mattered. Like, everybody had to do their job, including me, who used to shred the papers and laminate things. Like, if I messed up, they weren't gonna have that for the game day. You know what I'm saying? Like, little things like that. Everybody had to do their job.
Every job matters.
Every job matters.
I like on his way out, the way he criticized the Penn State fans. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm glad someone said it.
Yeah.
Because it was true. Like, the way, it even came to light this year with that, the safety getting that letter.
Oh, yeah.
Tattoos. And it's like, damn, dude, like, there is this typical old school mentality.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got people in the fan base that like, it's like, yo, he was right. He's not lying. Like, the amount of criticism he received, and like, honestly, I thought it was unfair. But I think if any other head coach had been in there at that point in time, I don't think it would have gone as well. And so like, for him to right the ship, I don't think anyone else could have done that. Yeah. Like, there's no doubt, because it was so tumultuous.
There was 2 times we were at Penn State with those riots.
Yeah.
And then there's Osama bin Laden. Remember hearing USA chanted? And you're like, what's going on? Like, what? Twitter was everything back then, because everything hit Twitter first.
Yo, I can't remember who it was, but then people started using it on their laptops.
Twitter?
Yeah.
John, TweetDeck.
TweetDeck, exactly. And you'd have like 6 rows of tweets, and just like going through, I was like, yo, first of all, who follows this? Why don't you just stay on Twitter every 2 seconds like I do? It's anything. But dude, TweetDeck, But yeah, it really did. Twitter, actually, I got one when I first started at Penn State, because everyone's like, how do you not have a Twitter?
Yeah.
And then John Lay had a shirt that had his handle on it.
No, he didn't.
He did. He would wear it.
At J Athlete.
That's amazing. He was already marketing before anyone else was. That's amazing. The coolest thing was like, because we wouldn't necessarily go out because I just drank. John doesn't really drink, right? I don't know about now, but in college he was just like, no, I don't really, which was cool, because then I remember a lot of the time he would like DD and like pick his friends up. So I always thought that was pretty cool, because that's not where my mindset was. But like you would like run into him, and the best thing was late night McDonald's. You walk in with John Lay, and it just felt so cool. Like you just walk behind him, and then everyone's like, "Oh, he's with John." Like everyone would dap me up anyways. Like,
make the Club McDonald's.
Your Club McDonald's. That was the spot.
So I think that whole college experience, like, I did a lot of growth that year after for me. But I definitely, like, from freshman Ox to senior Ox, like, I think I came out like completely different person. I think I gained a lot more confidence. I wasn't all the way there. I think it took that next year outside of school to help me get really confident with who I was, but a lot more confidence, a lot more outgoing, and that growth, just like anytime I can, I'd like suggest to someone that if they have the opportunity to get as far away from home as possible. Cause like that, not having that safety net, of just like, I'll just, you kind of gave that extra drive to work a little bit harder.
Right.
Is that kind of the feeling that you have, or how do you feel about, what kind of recommendations would you give to a young person?
So I think one of the main reasons that maybe at the time I didn't realize was that I did need to kind of get away from my family for a little bit, just so I can do my own thing. And so I think like from like a jumping off point, maybe post high school for someone, or maybe someone in like their senior year, going into college, or, going into community college, however they're going to go about it, is that I would let them know that it's okay to not have, I guess, like a definitive plan. I guess you're working towards ultimately a degree, if that's what you want to do, or a certification, or finish a trade school. But that if you're not sure about what you want to do, that there's nothing wrong with that. I think the way it was groomed for us, me specifically, was like, well, you better have a plan. You better know what you want to do, because we're not gonna. And for me too, I was pretty much in agreement. I'm gonna pay all this money and put all this effort in, that I better have a pretty clear idea. But to present that to an 18-year-old, like if I had to go have this conversation with myself right now, go all the way back in time, and if I had learned that, it just would have reduced the amount of internal stress I had put on myself.
For sure.
And so I think that would be the major thing. That's why I tell my sister all the time is, and when she's asked, and like when I try to, because she doesn't solicit any advice really, but whenever I have the opportunity, I just tell her, hey, you're gaining real world experience where you are right now. That's really the only thing that matters. That's probably the other thing too, is like, for as much as you do on a college campus or in a program, when it really comes to like your real world interactions with people, like that's what really shines through. And that's kind of where I excel at my job, is that, I don't know, I'm able to connect with people. Obviously you need to know what you're doing professionally and have a good knowledge base of what's going on. But like getting out there, and like for anyone who I felt early on in my career, I had confidence issues, but it's mostly because you don't necessarily know what you're working on yet, real from the start. And then obviously you're going to learn, you'll get more comfortable with it, and it'll all kind of come to you. Even 5 years in, I feel like I'm starting to like really hit a stride, just because in my job, there's just so much to learn, and there's a lot of permitting and regulation that we're supposed to stay up on. And it's not in your first years, like especially out of college. Like I was teaching at a preschool, part-time. I had no idea what I was really gonna do next. Like obviously I was like looking for jobs, but it became that whole experience thing. Like wherever you can get that real world experience, you'll be able to apply it in so many different ways. And then that's where like, you know, your confidence comes through, and then people are like, well, this person's an asset because, you know, I can count on them in this many certain ways. All the cliche, like it's true though. Like if you show up early, always showed up early, I would always stay late, establishing that you're willing to work, willing to learn, being coachable and teachable. You can't be afraid of criticism.
That's a huge problem right now, I think, is people go around the actual truth, and you waste so much time just giving that direct feedback. Like, hey, this is where you made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes, but you can't tell people that anymore.
No, it's crazy. And then, so I mean, and I understand, or like, that might be where the team sports thing. I had a coach, I mean, feet away from you, watching you screw up, and they come, and then they're gonna come yell at you because you screwed up. And you have no excuses. What do you, like, you really don't, because he's like, yeah, he's right. And he saw me do it 2 seconds ago, and he's giving me that direct feedback. And it isn't, you know, it's embarrassing because it's in front of a bunch of people, but it's, you know, being in reflecting, they're using you as an example for your teammates. And okay, if I get yelled at and bear the brunt of his frustration, maybe it'll help the next guy who comes in for the next rep. And that's kind of how I've always looked at it. Like, I don't mind. I'll tell my boss, like, we have a big project and a lot of people are working on it. Say I make a mistake, I was like, well, hey, I mean, use me as an example. Like, Miah forgot to do this, or, you know, just a reminder, you know, looking at Miah's report, he might have, you know, you leave something out, a small bit, something you can go back and fix, but, you know, be cognizant about this in these certain situations. Right. That's like I think that's the big, I don't think you can grow. If you don't know what you need to work on, how are you supposed to ever progress?
Exactly. And that, yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I noticed that in the last 2 years, people I've worked with or people have asked me questions about being, you know, fresh out of college, like, you know, what are the big things? I was like, yeah, I was like, you guys don't really like criticism. And I was like, that it's just not, I don't know, it just doesn't work. You can't, I don't think you can ever get better if you don't hear it from someone or in some way. Right. And I think sugarcoating it doesn't necessarily help. Like you said, if you're talking around it to get to a point, I don't know, I'd be so confused and being like, all right, well, Ox is gonna come talk to me about this. What are we talking about? Because yeah, you have to go about it in a roundabout way. And
feedback taco.
To be direct.
That's what we are teaching right now. My company, the feedback taco.
Oh, what is it?
The feedback taco. So like
a taco?
Feedback taco. I'm telling you, man. I'm not making this up. It's like there's like the meat of the issue, but then you gotta sprinkle a bunch of crap on top, and then you gotta give a hard, reassuring case around it to show that, you know, the reassurance. It's like, you're okay, you're not gonna get fired for this. Here's the meat of it, but then we're gonna put some good stuff on top. Like, this is the issue. We're gonna like put some lettuce and some guacamole, whatever, and then assure you you're not getting fired. See how?
I guess that's cool.
No, stop.
Some assurance is nice. I get it. I think my company does it in different ways, though. I think it's expressly that in consulting, you don't make mistakes because you have people counting on you to be correct all the time.
Right.
Which is like a whole thing in and of itself. But yeah, that's a lot. How often are you finding yourself checking out the Feedback Taco?
Honestly, I've had to work on. So coming out of college, graduated from business school, I tried way too hard. That's the self-diagnosis I had. Like, I showed up to work with like a suit and tie, and like, you know, I was always honest. And because at the end of our college tenure, especially in the business school, honesty was the biggest thing because of as an overreaction from all the paterno and like integrity was like the biggest thing for us. So that was a huge emphasis that lasted on me and I took into the work world. And that's really not how it's not black and white. Like, I've found like most of the stuff happens in the gray. So I've had to work on how I bring myself. Like, I had an issue with keeping it too real all the time. Like, I was like, hey, if I'm honest and like I do everything the right way, there's no reason why I can get in trouble. You know, I'm doing it by the book. I'm doing it by the rules, and I'm doing it how you guys all are supposed to be doing it. But I found that I looked like I was, trying too hard. I looked like I was trying to, overstep my managers sometimes. And that was bad for me. But I mean, back to Feedback Taco, like my work version of myself and my real self are two of the most different people. Like, they're definitely two people. Like, me at work, man, is so crazy. I've been able to create that character of how patient I am with people, and how I think the patience is the biggest thing, and then how empathetic I care about people. I'm a very empathetic person, but at work it is turned up to like 200%. Like, oh, you didn't get it done when you said you would? That's okay. Why? What were your blockers? Like, what more can I do to help lessen the load of you being a responsible adult?
Right.
And, change, anything negative that happens, like optimism is a big, big thing at our company. It's just like, if I didn't have my friends at work, I would have gone crazy by now.
Oh yeah.
But it's helped me a lot. Like the character I've created for myself. And I don't know if every place is like this, but the character I've created for myself, is this Oxum at work is this asexual, like this most forgiving and understanding and empathetic person. It's like, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying? And then I cut loose and I get off of work and I'm like, yo, give me a bottle of Hennessy, please. Break out the Black and Miles. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it weren't for my homies at work, I would have lost it a long time ago.
It's the Shannon Sharp meme.
Right.
Yo, that's it, but it's true. I did have like a work persona, not much different than myself though. But now I've started to like, me and my supervisors are really tight, and it's coming out, like the dark humor, and like, because I've always been, I still am grossly optimistic about it.
I almost got in trouble for telling a vegan joke.
Oh, yo, they know at work, they know your name.
Right.
We were talking. I was telling.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
So I had brought up not to be specific, but a story you shared with me, and they thought it was the funniest thing ever. So they're like, "Yo," honestly, they're just like, "Yo, how's Ox doing?"
Oh my gosh. So I tiptoe that line, and then every now and then I'll just like let a little bit out, you know what I'm saying? And then I can hand slap super hard. So I gotta go back.
Yep.
How's it going? Yeah. It's Randy, I think at a certain level, there's a point at which I'm going to get some, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to be able to, I don't know, actually. I really don't know. I don't know. Do you know what you want to do with your, like, is the field? Talk about what you do real quick.
Damn it. So,
if you had to explain it to a 3-year-old.
Oh, that's even harder. But basically, what my career focuses on is stormwater compliance and water quality. Mm-hmm. So like construction inspections, industrial, commercial, making sure that the big thing is making sure nothing is discharging from these sites to contribute to water pollution. And the biggest component is that there's no pollutants coming out when it rains, right, which around here is like never. Right. So it's a lot of preventative stuff. So yeah, I perform a lot of environmental inspection type work and then report.
Is it set up so that can you see yourself at the end of the day retiring in this space?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. There's you basically stay the course, and you bust your ass, and it's such a niche field that there aren't a lot of people, like, even in my I'm not even really that young anymore. I'm 29 in March, but I've already been exposed to so much by by what people tell me is like, dude, you've already done more in 5 years than I probably did in 10, just based on like the amount of work we've had and the amount of different projects.
Yeah.
They range in like complexity. So like I have this like really wide base of knowledge so far.
You're a field scientist. I did a little research. You're a field scientist.
Yeah, basically.
That's tight, dog. Did you ever think?
The scientist part, where I do give my business cards to women, and they're like, "Oh, you're a scientist." I don't give it to them, but I'll show them like, "Oh, yeah," because they don't. No one. That's the problem, is no one really knows what I do,
no.
And I think I did a pretty good job summing it up just now, but no one really fully grasps, like, so what do you do? Like, oh, I go to, it's like, I do this, I do that, fill out reports, hand out notices of correction, like things I got to take care of, and everyone's like, oh, cool. And then like a couple months later, like, so what exactly do you do? And like, I was like, why?
Your future hypothetical kids' career day, bring your dad to work day, is going to be the biggest letdown, because all the kids are going to be like, my dad's a scientist, and he's going to be like,
exactly.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah. So I was on a job site, and they dropped a barrel of liquid, and I had to write them up. Like, that's the scientist part is so misleading sometimes.
The kids
there is
so letdown.
Look at the definition of scientist, because I guess what you're doing is you're taking what's going on in the field and then forming an opinion about what's happening, and then like kind of going from there, drawing on whatever evidence that you see. Maybe that's the definition of a scientist, but people are just like, oh, so like you work in a lab? No, I don't. Like, I don't do any of that. And they're like, oh, so you're not a scientist. And like, it always becomes that. It's so fun. Oh, yours.
So how much longer are you gonna stay in San Diego, man?
Probably until it's not. I don't know how much longer. Just because there's a decent amount of work out here, mm-hmm. Always, mm-hmm. Especially for what I do.
Right.
California, like one of the more strict. Probably the strictest state when it comes to regulation. So there's always going to be like a work for me. But honestly, the cost is starting to become cost prohibitive in a lot of different ways. There's people here with like 2 kids and their significant other might not work. And I'm just like, yo, Mo, man, how in the hell are you doing it? Like, there's no possible, because it's crazy, man. Rent's so high. It's just,
I throw away so much money a month every month for no reason.
Yo, because, and that's the stinky ass part, is that there seems to be no reason, but then you almost don't have a choice.
Yeah.
It's like, where else would you want to live in Oxnard?
Yeah, I mean,
would you want to live?
No, I mean, that's the reason why I haven't looked at anything else, because I don't want to invest in property, because I don't really want to. I want to leave at some point, like in the near future. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like investing in a property doesn't make sense. I don't know. The way I did it, because Penn State inspired me. My experience at Penn State inspired me to like go more places where I haven't lived before. And I figured like that would be other ways to push myself to create and to just continue to grow. I could definitely see how the advantages of being close to family, though, in your formative years. You know, the stuff that I've been going through. I mean, it'd be almost impossible. I didn't have a family, like a support system, like people around me. So I don't know. The rent thing is like really for the suckers like me that would choose to live somewhere where they don't know anybody. Otherwise, you should absolutely live with your family or live with, or at least invest in a property, because as much as rent is now, you might as well just be buying a home at this point or a condo.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. That'd be the one. That'd be the last bridge to cross.
Yeah.
For me, my family, because I already did it once, and I don't know if I could go through that again.
Yeah.
It's like, which I get like, people are like, yeah, embrace your independence, and but it's like, damn, I'm sorry, my family's tight, and they're fun.
They are. First time
I was telling
Linguist was at your house.
Oh yeah, that's right. And all the cabezas. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's like we just actually had carnitas yesterday.
That's crazy. Never got the call. Crazy.
Oh, it was a last minute thing.
I think your life's probably turned out pretty solid, and all the people that we met, Nick, Miguel, everybody, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody. Where else in the country do you wish you could have gone to school? And I'm only saying that because I'm assuming that's the only time that you'd be away from home, as if you were to do a 4-year experience. Where else, if you could have snapped your fingers and gotten into anywhere, would you have wished you could experience 4 years?
Probably, well, looking back on it now, probably Oregon.
Oh, really? Dude, no.
Yeah.
Oregon was...
I think so.
Or like all the kids from the Bay Area went to Oregon, and then a bunch of the kids from LA, and then it was like Oregon kids. That's all it was. Is like it was like a transfer portal for California kids.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. I think
why Oregon?
Just from the standpoint of things that would, it just looks cool.
Looks cool as shit.
It does. The whole state. Just the lack of, I mean, a lot of people like move up there to kind of seclude themselves. That or maybe in Washington.
Like UW?
Because, yeah. And then just
State.
Closer.
Really out there.
Where?
Okay. Washington State.
Oh, yeah. That's Washington, right?
Yeah.
That would have been cool too. But I feel like the snow, if we didn't like it at Penn State, it would probably be even crazier.
Yeah.
I think about SEC schools, but then I don't know if I could do it.
I want to go to grad school at like University of Austin. I think it's like liberal enough where it's like I don't have to worry about, you know what I'm saying, getting kidnapped and you know, all that stuff.
Texas would be tight.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, the hardest part about life after college was, I would say I've met some of the best people I've ever met in my life, like you, John, Akeem, Evan, Mike, and then obviously Miguel and Nick, and like, you know, all these groups that we met. And then coming back to the real world, there's not a collection of people that is like pretty much like-minded. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are obviously all about the same thing, success in some sort of way, you know, reaching it through education in some form, you know, appreciate relaxing in the same type of ways, enjoy the same type, like, I don't meet those people anymore. And that was probably the hardest part, assimilating back into the real world for me.
Yeah.
Has been. That's
for sure.
Has been. And all of our friends are on the other side of the freaking country, if not, like sprinkled, like, you know, Nick obviously lives in San Diego now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually been pretty tight. And it's like weird because I don't feel like we try to hold on to it. I think it's healthy because especially at that point in time and being so, I mean, you really are still pretty impressionable in college, as much as people think like, an individual, like, as much as you think you have things figured out. It was very cool to spend time and talk to those people, because I feel like we all expressed maybe the same sort of, I don't want to say fears, because I don't think any of us we're like scared of anything, but maybe like worries or concerns about life and, like, you know, the whole grand scheme of things. And it was like cool to like hear other people to openly and freely to discuss that. So I mean, I'm sure you've been in, like, I go to a party. There was a couple holiday parties this year I went to where I was like, well, what is anyone really talking about? Like, what do you guys talking about? Like, no one's, I don't know, it's talking and like less discussion, because people were afraid. I know, like, around you guys, especially in like Evan and Mike's apartment, there was like, you could talk about whatever you wanted. And like, people might, well, I mean, for the most part, we agreed with each other, but there were times where we disagreed. But it was like cool to discuss it, like to understand someone else's view. Yeah. I think that's what's missing, especially now. I don't know, people are too afraid to like really say how they feel. And,
well, there's too much at risk. There's too much at risk.
Yeah.
To offend anybody anymore.
Yeah, that's very true. Especially at holiday parties, like, it's just so many, like, you only hear so many dad jokes over the course of 3 hours, or like just mad corny people. It's crazy.
You know, I've never been good with small talk. You've always been good with that, though. That's why I always left like parties and stuff. Remember, I used to always like bounce around. Like, I could never do the small talk if it wasn't like going to be a meaningful conversation or whatever. I didn't even want to fake it. I was like, all right, I'm out. I'll see y'all later.
Yeah. But that's how I found out you have to do small talk.
Yeah, you do.
As much as you don't want. You can't just be like, so what do you think about Iran? like straight out the gate. You gotta ask them, yo, so how was your holiday? Did you have a good New Year? Yeah. Right. And then they do a little something like, yeah, you know, I got a little sick, but had the flu. I was like, oh, bummer. What kind of remedies do you have for that?
Yeah.
Talk about that. It always leads to something.
But see, that's the last thing I need to learn at work. Because in meetings, I'll be like, all right, so did we get this stuff done? But a lot of other meetings start with, how was your weekend? How are the dogs doing? Yeah. X, Y. I'm like, yo, this is why we never have time at the end of meetings. Like,
it always gets up. Which is, yeah, That happens in my office quite a bit. I don't work with a lot of people though. There's only like 8 people.
I know you don't. All right. Last question. What do you want on your gravestone?
What do I want on my gravestone?
Yeah, like how do you hope you're remembered?
I think probably the biggest thing for me would be, I don't know, I think I want people to know that I was reliable. Mm-hmm. But in, whatever capacity it was to like that friend or family member. Mm-hmm. So like for some friend groups, it'd be that dude was always ready to party or to have a good time. For someone else, it'd be like he was always there for me when things were going bad and I was able to vent to him. Like, because I feel like there are times, like I feel like I could reach out to you at any point. Yeah. Even if I knew you were busy or something, like if it was important enough, I could tell you. Yeah, just let you know.
It's not Monday through Thursday. Really, just Sunday morning. Text me first. Yeah,
exactly. We have that etiquette, but I think that's what I want, because I've had like different family members and just people that you can't necessarily count on, mm-hmm. and I think it kind of speaks volumes when like you think about, I don't know, just even like a small little thing you're trying to plan, and it's like, well, can I really count on that person to come through? Right. And if you're having to question it, then it's like, I probably can't. And so I think that what I'd like is to not leave anyone with any doubts, like, can he come through for me in my time of need? Because that's, especially this, like last year, it was like pretty evident that I found out like, oh, these are the true, real people I can count on. And it's always been the same people. And then to see it come to light, and like when you actually do need them, like I realized like I never really, in parts of my life I really needed people, but like this last year I really did. Yeah. And so that'd be my, like, damn, this dude was reliable. Mm-hmm. And obviously like loving and caring. Some people, they just, some of my friends need like tough love, or they'll tell you like straight up, like, I need to be humbled, like, what am I doing right now that you think isn't conducive to like being successful or something like that. And sometimes that's what they need. So yeah, I want people to know that I was reliable. If I had anything to leave behind, I think that'd be it.
Yeah, bro. Honestly, man, you are one of the most reliable people I know. It's like, I thought about it. Like, for sure, anybody I could depend on. Like, obviously, you're one of those few people that I like. That was such a great thing you said. You said if you had to think about it, you probably can't rely on that person. Like, if you have to think about it, that's what's up, man. I appreciate your time, man. This has been fun catching up. I need to get down there at some point soon.
Yeah.
You got a lasting message for anybody?
Let's see. Shouts out. I'll do a couple shouts. Shout out Nick. Shout out my brother Nico.
Oh, Nico Suave. Don't forget about Nick.
Shout out the Shadow Ridge boys. And then, but ultimately, like, I guess the lasting message is that I think, it's like cliche, but I really am over like the argumentative and like divisive nature that's kind of come around from the last few years. Because it's just not my style. So I think if people like took a second, so I don't think anyone's really thinking about anyone else at this point in time. when it comes to like what they believe in. So I don't know. I really wish the people who I know do that, obviously, are people that I enjoy their company, but there's others where like, I don't know, just know, I think the biggest thing is to know a time and place for bringing, you know, specific things up, and everyone knows what topics those are.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just to be more conscientious of like your surroundings if you're gonna like make a statement. And, I don't know, I hope more people are thinking about that. Just self-awareness in general. Like, I think most people could bump those numbers up for sure.
You actually heightened my self-awareness meter in school. That was actually one thing that you did implement on me during our time, you know, together in college.
That's what's
like,
up.
You used to jump on me about like my etiquette in restaurants. And
oh, yo, that's the. It's so true. Yeah, be nicer. That's another one. If anyone needs to hear it, be nicer to servers. And if you're a woman and you're going to be mean to the servers, you should do it on the first date so the guy knows that you're going to be rude to him, instead of waiting until the fourth or fifth date to be rude to them, and then me finding out.
I feel
not
like
wanting to go out.
Something else right now. All right, bro. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man.